All right, group back. This is, I mean, settle the wreckage. Touche. Touche, group back. I will search my library for 2 basic land cards. Thank you. All right, that changes things. That changes things a fair amount, actually. What is up, ladies and gentle nerds? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we have a special deck. I was actually challenged on stream to build this deck by my buddy Sin, one of my mods, awesome dude, and the challenge was to build a Super Friends deck with proliferate creatures as ways to boost them up and make them a little more powerful. So this is what we ended up doing. We ended up going in Simic, and with that we have a lot of very interesting creatures that are capable of helping us bolster some very powerful planeswalkers. So let's dive into the deck tech. Let's take a look at what we got. So naturally we have to have a lot of proliferate action. We just do. It's very, very important if that's the theme of the deck, that we have not only some planeswalkers, but also planeswalkers that can distribute +1/+1 counters, because I want to take advantage of both of those when we're proliferating. We want to get as much value out of that as humanly possible. So when we are proliferating, we have Merfolk Skydiver. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You can also pay 5 and just proliferate, which is great. So that's a 2 of. We also have Contentious Plan, which is a sorcery that proliferates and draws a card. Love it. And Contentious Plan works especially well alongside Flux Channeler. Flux Channeler says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you proliferate. That is not instant or sorcery. That includes enchantments, that includes artifacts, that also includes planeswalkers. So as we're casting our planeswalkers, we're buffing up the planeswalkers that we've previously cast. Love it. Fantastic. We also have Evolution Sage in here. Between Flux Channeler, Evolution Sage, and Merfolk Skydiver, I believe we have the strongest proliferate package that is available in Historic. Also, this is a Historic deck, as you can imagine, because we're playing with proliferate, which is part of the deal. Yeah, so these are all from War of the Spark. Very powerful cards. Evolution Sage says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you proliferate. Just excellent. We're going to be playing lands all over the place, so being able to just proliferate as an added bonus every time we hit a land, awesome. It's also a 3/2 for 3, which gives us a body that can deal with some aggro, which is nice as well. All right, we also have Tezzeret's Gambit. Draw 2 cards, proliferate, and it can cost as little as 3 and 2 life because of Phyrexian mana. Awesome, you love to see it. So Tezzeret's Gambit, it draws us cards, proliferates, and if we have a Flux Channeler down, it proliferates twice. Awesome, just absolutely great stuff. You love to see it. Now, we also have Into the North to ramp us up because our planeswalkers are pretty expensive. That's just part of the nature of the beast. And so Into the North on 2 gives us access to some of these really powerful creatures later on. And if we have the Evolution Sage down, casting it Into the North late is just a proliferate. And if we have a Flux Channeler down, casting it into the North is just a proliferate. If we have both, it proliferates us twice for 2 mana. Awesome. You'll love to see it. And then, okay, so what planeswalkers do we have? This is the, there's one other, it's not proliferate per se, but it's actually a lot better than that. And we do have Vorinclex. We have Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider in here. This card is absolutely amazing. It's a house. I don't know what else to say. It just doubles counters whenever counters are being put on things, and it halves counters from our opponents. So it shuts down enemy planeswalkers in a lot of situations, makes their ults basically unattainable, and a lot of their minuses unattainable as well. It also shuts down cards like Luminarch Aspirant, cards that are going to be putting counters on our opponent's stuff, just completely shuts them down. And all of our planeswalkers, all of a sudden, every +1 becomes a +2. Every proliferate, we add 2 counters instead of just 1. Vorinclex is a house and absolutely fantastic. Like, it's a must in here. So let's take a look at the Planeswalker packages. So here we have a good proliferate, a strong package that is going to be capable of supporting a lot of counters flying around. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's what we're doing here. So what are we doing with those counters? Well, we have Jiang Yanggu. Each creature control with a +1/+1 counter has tap, add 1 mana of any color. Love it. And you can -1 to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So we can be creating counters that we can then proliferate, which is great. And Yanggu himself is going to be able to proliferate and uptick as well, which is just nice. And provide more and more +1/+1 counters to other creatures, which can also ramp us, which is just, it's a cool possibility, and actually surprisingly strong in this deck, because that one counter that Yanggu can put on an Evolution Sage or a Flux Channeler can all of a sudden take over the game, believe it or not, given how hard we're proliferating. We also have Teferi, Master of Time. This card is amazing, and this card is in here primarily for that ult. If we can get to 10 counters on Teferi, Master of Time, preferably 11, so we have an opportunity to maybe do it again, we can actually take 2 extra turns after this one. That usually wins you the game. As anyone playing Standard right now knows, taking an extra turn is very, very powerful. If we can take 2 extra turns in a row with Planeswalkers and at least one big body on board, Teferi Master of Time has an opportunity to really run away with the game, and that's beautiful. We love to see it. So we have Tef Master of Time in here. We also have Vivien Arkbow Ranger. Vivien Arkbow Ranger distributes +1/+1 counters to the creatures you control, and they gain trample until end of turn. Love it. That's great. Creates counters, also gives trample, which is nice if we have a couple big bodies. It also has a -3. Target creature control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker, or, well, and so it's removal. So we have a fight as removal on a minus. Great. -5, you may reveal a creature card you own from outside the game and put it into your hand. And we do have a sideboard with some really powerful creatures in it. So we have a couple proliferate creatures like Pollenbright Druid and a Merfolk Skydiver in the side. We also have Urban Daggertooth, which is if we're going up against aggro, this gives us an opportunity to have a blocker back that can proliferate in really powerful ways, and it has vigilance, so we're able to attack with it and block with it, which is great. We also have another copy of Vorinclex in the sideboard because Vorinclex is a house and incredibly powerful, and being able to fetch it at will is really valuable. We also have the other Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, just because this card basically says you win the game in a lot of situations. It kind of says if your opponent doesn't kill you next turn, you win the game. It's kind of how this card ends up playing out, because it straps their mana down really, really badly, and it beefs yours up in a big way. So Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, very powerful card, and it's in here because it's a very powerful card. Speaking of very powerful cards, we also have Jin-Gitaxias, the Core Augur. This card says, at the beginning of your end step, you draw 7 cards, and each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. So our opponent's hand size effectively becomes 0 unless they have some way to remove maximum hand size or something like that. But in most situations, our opponent's hand size is going to become 0, and we're going to draw a fresh grip of 7 cards at the end of every single turn. Jin-Gitaxias is a monster, and the fact that this thing has flash is insane too. It's kind of irrelevant in this situation, but very, very powerful card. Super awesome. Jin-Gitaxias is just absolutely insane, but he costs 10. So we're only going to fetch him out of the sideboard. We're only going to fetch them out of the sideboard, I should say, if we already have 10 mana available. And the ramp package isn't particularly strong, so that's really only going to happen in longer, grindier games. That said, in the gameplay, you will see there was at least once when we did get Jin-Gitaxias on the board. So just a little spoiler for the future there. And then Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. It's Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. This is just an incredibly powerful card, and again, if we have 10 mana lying around, why not grab Ulamog and just blow up our opponent with them? So that's why those are in there. So those are available with Vivien Arkbow Ranger. Excellent. Also, this is a best of 1 deck, which is why we only have 7 cards in the sideboard. If we were to buff this up to be a best of 3 deck, I'd probably put a couple of different planeswalkers in the sideboard so we could slot in and out what different effects are available. And to be honest, I might actually go into a 3rd color so we'd have access to cards like Kaya, or actually Kaya is a bad example because we'd have to have 2 colors for that. But in any event, I'd probably approach the deck differently if I was going best of 3, but for best of 1, this isn't so bad. What other planeswalkers do we have? Well, a Superfriends deck that has green in it would not be complete without Nissa, Who Shakes the World. This card is absolutely fantastic in a couple of ways. It's just incredibly strong on its own and can just win games by itself. So there's that. It doubles your mana effectively in most situations. All your forests tap for an additional green. You also put 3 +1/+1 counters on target non-creature land, untap it, it becomes a 0/0 elemental with vigilance and haste. That is still a land. So we get to create a creature using +1/+1 counters. We can proliferate, make them even larger. And if we have Vorinclex out, the creatures start as 6/6s. That is incredible. So Nissa can run away with the game and just completely take it over by herself easily. And in this kind of deck, we'll also be able to get to Nissa's ultimate with relative ease. That says you get an emblem that says lands you control have indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And as a result, we have a lot of forests in our mana base, so we can really take advantage of that. Giving all of our lands indestructible, especially if Nissa survives and we're able to continue to keep animating them, very, very powerful. And again, in this deck, given what we're doing, not hard to do. It's actually downright easy, which is a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. We also have Vivian Reed, which is one of the only instances of hard removal that we have in this deck. Her -3 says destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. So being able to ping down a flyer, like any pesky Goldspan dragons out there, getting to deal with those is great. And then also being able to knock out artifacts or enchantments, paradox engines and whatnot. you know, assuming our opponent didn't already combo off with them, which usually happens the turn they come into play. So maybe that's not a great example. But there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments out there that we can knock off, which can do some great things for us. Vivien also has the ability, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or a land card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. To be honest, this is given, I mean, it's not bad because we have creatures, we have some smaller creatures that we're going to be proliferating with. So this is effectively draw a card for +1. So that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. And filling our hand with additional lands is going to help us if we have an Evolution Sage out and getting us additional proliferate triggers. So nothing wrong with that. Oh, and then her ultimate. You get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2, have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. That's a beautiful overrun. And again, we're able to hit it relatively easily given how hard we're proliferating in this deck. So Vivien Reid is a very powerful card. This was a Planeswalker from M19, and I'll be honest, I actually crafted 2 copies of her for this deck specifically because I feel like she was just an excellent include. So huge shout outs to my chat, actually, who suggested it, because yeah, they were 100% correct. Sorry, I don't remember exactly which individual made that recommendation, but they were 100% correct. We also have Vivien Monstrous Advocate. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You can cast creature spells from the top of your library. Okay, that's neat, but that's really not what we're doing this for. +1, you create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Put your choice of a vigilance counter, reach counter, or a trample counter on it. In most situations, it's going to be reach or vigilance. Now, those are the 2 most useful counters. And interestingly enough, because those keyword counters are counters, we can actually proliferate to add more. Now, redundant keyword counters accomplish literally nothing, but it is funny. I have had games where I've had a beast token with 5 vigilance counters on it. Like, okay. Like, it has vigilance 5 times, great. It still doesn't tap to attack. Awesome. Anyway, but it's fun. At the end of the day, Vivien is capable of producing a board state, producing creatures. That's what we want to be seeing. And then Vivien also has the ability, -2, whenever you cast your next creature spell this turn, search the library for a creature card with lesser mana value, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. We're not really going to be taking advantage of that very often. This is really just to pop out tokens that we can continue to take advantage of. So Vivien Monstrous Advocate is kind of like a, dare I say, fixed version of Nissa Who Shakes the World. She can do something very similar without being busted in half. Yeah, she does produce a board state that we can work with, which is nice. And then finally, last but not least, as far as our Planeswalkers go, we have Mordenkainen. So Mordenkainen comes in with 5 loyalty. You can pay +2, draw 2 cards, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. So basically +2 draw a card with, while we're proliferating. Great. You can -2 create a blue dog creature illusion token with this creature's power and toughness, or each equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. So it has the potential to be in a pretty big doggo, especially if we get Jinja Taxis out. And then -10, exchange your hand in the library, then shuffle. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. So Mordecai is in here because it produces tokens, which is nice. It draws us cards, which is nice. These are very valuable skills, that are very valuable abilities that we need. The dog tokens are probably going to be relatively small because late in the game, we don't have too many ways to draw cards, if I'm honest. So that's one thing that this deck kind of struggles with, unless we get Jinja Taxis out, obviously. But so it's primarily here to draw us cards, but he also has an emblem, or he also has a great ultimate. And that ultimate is very, very powerful and has an opportunity to take over the game. It gives us no maximum hand size, and our entire library all of a sudden becomes our hand. That could be incredibly powerful. And again, so given how hard we're proliferating, we're going to have access to Planeswalker ultimates. That's part of the deal. He's only a one-of in here because we don't have a lot of synergies. Like, he's great as a control finisher, and this is more of a janky, you know, quasi-combo situation that we're trying to set up here. So he's not a perfect fit, but I think he does enough of the same things that we want, so having one of makes sense. At the end of the day, the real stars of the show are Nissa Who Shakes the World and Teferi, Master of Time. If I were to modify this deck at all, I might bump these up to 3 or even 4 copies of each of those because they just take over the game. Those two cards can really run away with it. And they just can. I don't know what else to say. But I did record some gameplay live on stream this morning as of this recording, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. So please go go ahead and just stay tuned. We're going to show some gameplay. I do have the chat running on the screen, so you will be able to keep up with any dialogue that's going on between me and chat. And I hope you enjoy. Also, you may note I didn't feel like shaving this morning before stream, so I'm a little scruffy. Sorry about that. But if you enjoy the gameplay, if you enjoyed this deck, feel free to join in on the discussion. Twitch.tv/Hamhawks42. I am there weekday mornings starting at 6:30 a.m. until about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, most days anyway, Monday through Friday. And you can join the conversation and also challenge me to build decks based on your ideas. In order to do that, you just need to save up channel points, which is a currency that you get just by hanging out. It's absolutely free. So please consider doing that. If you're not already on Twitch, I highly recommend it. It's a blast. And you can hang out and with me and with the rest of the chat in that community, which is a beautiful community. I'm honored to be a part of it, and build decks and play them together. So without further ado, let's jump into the gameplay. I'll show you a little bit about what this deck can do. And yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, and if I don't see you, I'll catch you on the next one. This is awesome. Let's go. And Tom Hunt, cheers, my friend. Thank you for keeping the caffeine flowing. Yeah, I need to refill this. Yeah, we just don't need a third color, Lex. Exactly. Yeah, so I need to refill my coffee after this game. I mean, Lex, you're not wrong. It is a dual land with forest, but we already have we have a fair number of dual lands with forests in them. All right. Hey, Ingolf, how's it going, my friend? Welcome, welcome. In case me the only Planeswalkers really need here, Nissa, of course, will just win games by her own. Yeah, you're not wrong. Nissa is a house. I don't think anybody could argue that. And your hair could really pop off with counters. Fallen Rose, that could be fun. You're not wrong. Yeah, Impulse, we could do, yeah, Jiang, Kasmina, the only Planeswalkers really need here. I mean, yeah, our Vivians are fun, but maybe not particularly valuable. I got you. All right, we need to get... Actually, I might go... Right now, we only have 2 Nissas in here. I might put a 3rd Nissa in. I'm thinking that could be useful. Yeah, Ingolf, how are you doing this morning? Thank you for being here, my friend. Sea Stalker Connoisseur. Farewell, Tez's Gambit. You will be missed. Sexy Clexy. Clexy, you so sexy. All right, I'm actually gonna go ahead and put some counters on our Crawling Barrens. Don't need to turn it into a creature. And we're gonna proliferate said Crawling Barrens. All right. So next turn we can throw the Evolution Sage, buff up the Crawling Barrens. Take the 4 here. I'm not super jazzed about it, but it could be a lot worse. Tef. There you are, you beautiful temporal mage, you. All right, let's go. Yeah, this is new for interjection. Ha!
Let's make this quick.
I could have thrown Klex first. That probably would have been smart. Because then we would have been able to ult Tef a lot sooner. But, well, here we are. We let Flux Channeler go, not attacking into that wall, because that is nice and pointless. Flicker the Connoisseur, so we are going to say goodbye to Klex. That hurts. Farewell, Klex. Yep, I should have played you when I had the chance.
Time to improvise.
Gotta get that kind of sewer out of here while we have the chance. Mitigating the damage a wee bit. Yeah, kill the 3/3 totally, Luna. Yep. Impulse, we don't run Stonecrow Serpent because I didn't think of it. That actually is a really good call. Alright, so we're gonna just throw Yanggu here. Evolution Sage. Yanggu is gonna put a +1/+1 counter on said Evolution Sage. And now we get a chance to proliferate. We've got a bunch of stuff to proliferate. Ching ching, let's go. And Tef, I just want to get the counter on, so we're gonna mill one. It's gonna be a land. All right, fine. Would have been nice to have, but it's all good. No, Stonecrow Serpent actually would fit in here nicely, Impulse. The fact that it is a creature with protection from multicolor that has +1/+1 counters just innately built in is very strong. And it's got reach casually. Like, no big deal, just saying. Stonecrow plus Hazardous, first thing came to mind with the counters name. Yeah, that's pretty great, Impulse. You can't go wrong. Meanwhile, so this is all happening. So our opponent has these shambling gas. Meanwhile, we have this Crawling Barrens just chilling here. That's just casually growing every turn. Just getting a little bigger, a little meaner. Blood Fountain. Okay, Ozolith plus Ochre Jelly. Ochre Jelly is actually really strong. So Ozolith plus Ochre Jelly or Vorinclex plus Ochre Jelly, or both, because why not, can be very strong. Yeah, you never run out of blockers. That's true. That's true. Nah, another Crawling Barrens. That would have been nice. Oh, well. C'est la vie. Let's see what we draw into.
Time to improvise.
Ooh, Viv. I'm going to let Into the North go. All right.
My heart beats in unison with the wild.
Break down that wall.
Watch out, they bite.
Buff up that Evolution Sage a little bit. All right, this is a little greedy. How many wildcards do we have, and is the deck building challenge open? Actually, Ingolf, there have been 2 deck building challenges so far today, and I have a fair amount of wildcards. So the deck building challenge is currently on cooldown, and with it being Tuesday, I do have to end the stream a little bit earlier than I normally would. You get the Thoughts Oracles. Yeah, Thoughts Oracle is banned. One more best of one. We can, yeah, Crewback, we can do that. Last try? Sounds good. Yeah, just a quick best of one. Sounds good.
Think fast.
Farewell, Vivien Reid. It's been a pleasure. Better to keep the lands, play proliferate than alt Tef. Yeah, probably not, Quest. Ooh, Bantu. That's a card you don't see every day. That's a sweet one for you. Oh, okay. Ingolf, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. Yeah, Knockquest, that probably would have been the better way to go. Yeah, Viv isn't really giving us much value here, unfortunately. Well, they're an Epic here. Good card. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so at this point, we need to proliferate. Well, Contentious Plan. That'll do. Into a land that can also proliferate. Perfect. Alt and Tef, faux show, all day, day, let's go. Crawling Barrens becoming a casual 10/10. They have an opportunity to kill the evolution stage here, which I don't love. Actually, they can kill the Crawling Barrens as well. But you know what? They have to give up a lot to do so. So I am going to attack with the Crawling Barrens. And they are going to do it. All right, cool. I'm going to get rid of Bontu because that menace makes me very nervous. And actually, it's going to kill all three. So that's me overthinking things, which is what I do. It's on brand for me. What can I say? All right. So, Sin, I'm going to be streaming for about another 40 minutes today. Yeah, I'm going to be ending around 10:30 EST.
My, how you've grown. Strength.
Got him. All right. Whew. All right, that Tef ult was very important. I'm sure I could have sequenced that better. I'll be completely honest. I know I could have played that game better. I have no doubt there were opportunities that I missed in there, but we got there in the end. All right, Krupek, you are up, my friend. Let's do this thing. I believe it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, the release was rough, though. Like, the amount of hype for that game was legendary. Like, people would not shut up about it. And, as you know, Cyberpunk, that is. And I find it fascinating how the hype went from, you know, this game is going to be the best thing ever, to this game is a buggy dumpster fire, like, overnight. I found that fascinating. You know, because obviously the game released, and so people had thoughts and opinions on it. Online gaming killed the game, you think so? Okay. Or online gaming killed gaming. Ooh, man, that's a hot take. Yeah, so, but now it's fine, Razu. I believe it. I believe it. They had an opportunity to, you know, iron out some of the bugs, and I'm sure things have gotten a lot better. All right, does Arkbow and Rager resolve? I see on tap blue mana. Society back, love the tone, love the world, enjoyed the story, a little spit with Judy. Nice. That sounds like fun. The thing about the game was that it was boring. Oh, Luna, that's fair. Works for game development, the gaming as a whole, I guess. Oh, okay. Matt, that's interesting though. I like it. That's an interesting idea. I mean, because we've reached a point where, with gaming where, you know, devs can release things after the fact, you know, and so yeah, man, that's an interesting idea. I'd love to unpack that more. The idea that game development, yeah, you can't patch an offline game, exactly. Yeah, different company these days release an unfinished game, then patch it over the months. Yeah, these things happen. We're gonna proliferate some stuff. We're gonna go grab a Merfolk Skydiver, methinks. Actually, we can hit Clexies. Let's do it. Or the first time I entered the intro heist, or just why am I racing? Yeah, no boring, falling asleep. It was never happened. Oh wow, Luna, I'm sorry to hear that. So Fallen Rose, we're halfway to full dive in game. What do you mean by that? I'm not familiar with that expression. So Roz, do you think the game was cool? That's awesome. Sexy Clexy. Clexy, you so sexy. Enjoy the open world. Nice. Nothing wrong with that. Put one counter apiece, but wait, it's not one counter, it's two counters. Thank you, Vorinclex, Monstrous Trader. Ooh, cycling. Yeah, the cycling countered that ability. Touche. Cool question, the Magic Encyclopedia. Okay, Rock on Ingolf. What's the best sack outlet in Arena for a combo deck? So easy to cast, sack cost of 0. There are two that I think of. Sepulchre Ghoul is not bad. It's not amazing, but it's legit. And Klora, I know that counter was legit. It was well played. So Sepulchre Ghoul's not bad. Woe Strider is the other one that I would highly recommend. Tef. Oh, I should have upticked Viv first. Oh well. Hostile. Yeah, it costs 1 to sack, which is a little unfortunate.
Have a plan? I'll just make one up.
No, Hostile is not bad, but yeah, Sepulchre Ghoul and Woe Strider. Woe Strider, I think, is probably there's head and shoulders the best. All right, Razu. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. I'll let one Tez Gambit go. Yeah, absolutely, Ingolf. Those are my recommendations. All right, group back. I mean, settle the wreckage. Touche, Krupek. I will search my library for 2 basic land cards. Thank you. All right, that changes things. That changes things a fair amount, actually. See shrines return for Kamigawa. More shrines are too powerful than internal formats. Ooh, Tom, that's a good question. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw. I think it's more likely that they would reprint the Hondens than print new shrines. Actually the Honden reprints would be really slick. I'd like to see that. We can play, so you can mentally play open worlds without physically moving, but you can still run, shoot, and fight, etc. Oh, Fallen Rose, that sounds intense. Jin to refresh our hand and empty it. Yeah, Luna, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right.
Arkbow, bring me an ally.
All right, never mind. I'm gonna do this first. Yanggu is gonna. Yanggu was a great call, by the way. $17 lands top 23. Oh no. Yeah, Tef Master Time is getting some work done in this game.
Got all the time in the multiverse.
These are best set.
Think fast.
My, how you know?
All right. So Lux, yeah, you never play Life with Gambit? Sometimes I do. Obviously, right there I did, and it was definitely worth it. Discard Into the North and Contentious Plan. Yeah, we got this tied up. This is. Yeah. Krupek, this doesn't seem to be a particularly good matchup for you. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, these decks don't appear to be Cyber Shrines. Meatpants, I'd love to see Cyber Shrines. But yeah, good game, Krupek. Good game.